everyone, welcome back to your weekly astrological forecast. So this one's going from October 7th through the 13th. We have Jupiter retrograding and then Pluto stations direct, and Mercury moves into Scorpio. The moon's going to start out in the sign of Sagittarius, but then move into, we'll go through Sag, Capricorn, Aquarius, and then by Sunday afternoon we'll be experiencing a Pisces moon. So it might be nice to make some weekend plans ahead of time. Okay, other than that, let me just bring you over to my table and we'll get this going one day at a time. Hold on. Okay, so before I dive into this week's, I wanted to well, today is, what is today? The Thursday the 3rd. This is yesterday's chart, the 2nd, and I believe this is the first day of the longshoreman strike. And I have to, just put it out there that astrology pretty much is tracking it all. Or you gotta love astrology, I guess would be a better way to say it. And so first of all, to know that I have the chart set at 0 degrees Aries, and none of these transits will apply unless you put this into your chart, because I don't know where you are, where you're living. So I can't really give any house information. I can only give information about all the aspects, and the aspects have been, now this is set to a very tight orb. So here we have the square coming from 9 degrees of Libra over to Ceres. Now remember, Ceres is our dwarf planet that has to do with protecting things that nurture all of humanity, including animals and just anything that we love, anything that we care about. And with Ceres and Capricorn, we're talking physical, tangible assets and goals and plans and structures and things put in place. It's ruled by Saturn, right? So when you think about the longshoreman strike, it's all right here. And I think it started yesterday. Might have been the day before. It's been kind of brewing and not sure if it was going to happen, but then on the news it's been coming out that it was going to happen, and I do believe it did start yesterday. I'm pretty sure, yes, I'm positive now. So this is yesterday, okay, but 7:30 in the morning, I think it was announced later on. This has been brewing, okay. This Libra, just think of Libra as the bridge where things connect, okay. So we've got the ocean and the ports, the connection there. That relationship, that partnership, and it's squaring, so there's a challenge, there's a test, an action that is needed over to Ceres, and Ceres in Capricorn, we're dealing with like tangible goods, and I imagine there's tons of food on those ships, on those tankers, So there's the test, there's the challenge. And this is a tight orb, 9 degrees, 11 degrees here, 2 degree orb there. Actually, this is almost 10, 9 degrees, 53 minutes over on the Libra side. So Libra to Capricorn, and if, Cancer, well, Mars is right here. That's coming up to that square to, Mars is square Mercury here, it's not a real tight orb. So that brings in 3 of the cardinal signs. Okay, cardinal means movement. When we have a Capricorn placement over here, there's a bit of a wall, and here's the square, here's the wall to the relationship. And then here's the clincher. So if this helps to get it into your mind, what a sesquisquare, 135 degree aspect is all about, right here, unexpected detours, or disruptions to plans. And it points over here to Uranus, bringing in the shock, bringing in the, oh, dang, what do we do now? And Uranus is retrograde, no less. Now it's in money-minded Taurus, right? Venus rules Libra and Taurus, so there's definitely, and Libra's, I'm sorry, Venus is up here in Scorpio, digging her heels in, saying, now this would be probably the longshoremen themselves, and I am all for them having all the pay raises that they need and they deserve. I'm sure that it's terribly dangerous jobs that they do, and I can't say enough about how grateful I am to that type of those workers. But what about the corruption of the union leader Harold Daggett? What about that? And how about, now let's focus over here to Saturn and Neptune in Pisces on the dark side. How about looking at the corruption with the shipping magnates and the CEOs? Right? So as we see the transits move, keep that in mind, because Saturn in Pisces can be used in distortion. That energy can be corrupt governments and people who take advantage of vulnerable, issues. Then again, this could also be the longshoremen, testing their limits, because Saturn's all about testing, but also standing up for themselves and saying, hey, I won't be a victim anymore. Because I guess they haven't had pay raises. I think I understood this right. Correct me if I'm wrong, you guys, please. I thought it was 50 years since they've had raises. Things keep happening to knock off the raises that were supposed to come in. So that's that. I just wanted to explain that. I mean, it kind of looks like a yod. It's a different kind of a yod, a yod being more of that would be 150 degrees, and a yod we call kind of like the finger of fate, finger of God. Well, I'm going to give some credence to this, but I don't have a name for it. I just don't. So, okay, now let's dive into this week. Okay, Monday, we do have, with the exact aspects here. I'll go into that first, and then I might flip over to the, actually, you know what? I should do that first, based on what we were just speaking to. Let's go with the just standard set of aspects. Because Mars is down here, and then squaring Mars at 18 degrees of Cancer, and squaring Mercury. Now, Mercury, that it rules communications, but it also rules transactions that we deal with. Mercury is the ruler of so many different things, right? Because it connects people together. It has to do with votes. It has to do with all the news that comes out. But most of all, it really has to do with linking transactions together. And notice how it's opposing Chiron. Chiron in Aries over here is like, oh, come on, now I have to wait again. Think of all these people that have paid for their wares to get delivered. And I did read about some people who paid extra to try and get it into the ports before, before the strike. And then again, I have this other wondering, like, I know, because I, grew up in California, I know that we have the port over there, they have the port of LA, like near San Pedro and like Long Beach area. And then there's also the port of Hueneme, where a lot of cars come through, the big tankers full of cars. But I don't know, maybe I didn't stop and look up to see if maybe that's a different union of longshoremen, and could ships go diverted, around. It'd be quite a journey, but I guess it could be doable. Boy, talk about taking a long way around. But I wonder about that, and I also wonder about ships being stuck and not having a place to. I guess they just moor out in the water somewhere, but I don't know. I mean, these are all logistical things that I don't know anything about. So, but what I do know about here is the astrology, and with Mars in this T-square, not only to Chiron, and Chiron, it's like we've got some wounding here, and in Aries, it's ruled by Mars, who wants to get somewhere, and then square this planet of movement, which is Mars. So here's Mars over here ruling Aries, but Mars is on Cancer now. Cancer is wanting security and safety and protection. It's a water sign. And you can see, let's see, you can't, let me go, wait a minute, let's go back. Yeah, that's what I was thinking of. Okay, now I'm back to the 5th. Okay, so this is, and so all of this, I brought the kite and all the other aspects out in last week's reading, but I was so focused on politics, I didn't even think about the, the longshoreman strike, but you can see it's right here. We've got the grand water trine. We've got the moon and Venus and Scorpio together. Venus wants something, and it's digging its heels in. Venus is all about money and benefits and, all the things that it takes to create some, a bit more harmony in life, Digging your heels in and fighting are hallmarks of Scorpio. They don't mind confrontation and they don't mind crisis. If you go through crisis, it just gives you something to fight for. Scorpio is ruled by Pluto, used to be ruled by Mars, but we discovered Pluto, so there's that. The moon is the public, and this would be the longshoremen and their families and all of that. So that's right there. And then there's the opportunity, the sextile up to Ceres, to get that, to get that goal taken care of, to get that accomplishment done. And then it connects over to Saturn in Pisces. So again, Saturn sometimes can be testing, but you gotta, what's that old saying? You gotta risk it to get the biscuit. And by then it's no longer a biscuit. I think they're talking about real needs because they have not been paid enough. And then also down here, the two trines. See, now here's the perfect proof. Okay, is another astrological thing to put in the think banks. This is the proof that trines and sextiles do not always mean harmonious aspects. All they really mean to me, the sextiles mean opportunities, the trines mean fast-flowing energy. And again, Mars, Cancer, protection. Venus, Moon, Scorpio, fighting for what you want. We're talking about the polar opposite of, and both signs, Taurus and Scorpio, are very, very, financially minded. So is Capricorn. And then Pisces is over here going, come on, man, it's time for some compassion, right? And trying to take self-responsibility. So the longshoremen have, decided to do that. Now, it's unfortunate that they have a corrupt leader, and I wonder about that. But you know what? It's okay, because the strike brings out focus and attention on that corrupt person. And that relates to Saturn and Neptune on the dark side. Okay? So with Mars down here being the rudder of the, the kite, it's like it's leading to see where it goes. So we'll see how long this lasts. Maybe we can figure it out as we go. Maybe I can figure it out as we go into this week. So anyway, let's go back to Monday. And you can see that the part of the water trine is still there. Part of the kite is still there. The Saturn sextile series is tighter. Okay, it's only 1 degree there. So the opportunity, remember, Ceres is about transitions, and in Capricorn we're talking about those goods. So here we are with the transitions of goods across the water. That opportunity there. But Saturn has put a wall up. We could look at this as being, and the natural house setup here, 0 degrees Aries ascendant, it's a natural house setup. We could look at the 12th house as something being lost. It's not really lost, it's just going to be held back into this big old area that nobody can, like which ports are going to be open and which ones won't. It's affecting all of the ports all over the eastern seaboard and then down and then up into Texas as well. I mean, it's it's a lot. It's everything except for those ones in California I was talking about. That's why I'm wondering, can they just go? Can they keep going around and up? Would that violate any type of union bylaws? I wonder. But all of this is Mercury square Mars. Okay, there's that 1 degree there. And then, of course, Saturn and Neptune in Pisces. And then the goods are up here. And my goodness, let's just put a punctuation, let's put an exclamation point on Pluto and Capricorn, like the corruption. So now we can throw that Daggett dude into that category, right? I never even knew about him, but there are so many of them out there. I mean, I'm sure he's nothing special. Always people looking to make some money off of other people. Right? I mean, the greed, the levels of greed. That is the dark side of Pluto and Capricorn. So, okay. So now we also have, so this is in play in the background as Mars moves forward. This will be exact, you can see. Mars will move more quickly and not, I don't think, be in that, it won't be in that square to the sun. We're going to have tons of transits or aspects coming from the moon, though, especially on Sunday. Okay, let's just focus here. We've got that, that opposition is waning. This opposition is building. So this is the strong one to pay attention to. And that inconjunct there from the sun to Saturn that was there last week, that is waning as well. And there we are with, again, if we didn't, if an astrologer didn't use Ceres and you missed, the square going from the sun to Ceres, you would still pick up the inconjunct from the sun to Saturn, and you'd get the answers there. Because the inconjunct brings, the quincunx inconjunct, the 150-degree aspect, brings something that is thrown off kilter, and now you have to make an adjustment. Sometimes it's something that just suddenly demands your attention. So that's what's going on there. So there's that reinforcement. And the Venus, that's Venus trine Saturn. That aspect is waning. Because remember, all these faster moving planets over here are moving around the slower moving planets that are sitting here holding space for things to get into alignment, right? It's almost like, well, it's not almost like, it actually is. We could look at all of the faster moving personal planets as being very, like us humans running around in our day-to-day life trying to keep things going the way we have it planned, or make plans and we have goals, plans, and we got to just get things going the way we want, blah, blah, blah. And then these guys are out here sitting there going, really? Well, let's see. They're transpersonal planets, so they're more concerned with spiritual law and people awakening to spiritual law. Jupiter and Saturn are the builders of the zodiac. Remember when we had the square? And that'll come back later on. But remember we had Jupiter square Saturn, and there would be challenges to building based on those plans. So, we're going to have another square. Come back in December. So, and then there's June 2025. Yeah, the Jupiter square that started off in May, when Jupiter was about, I think, at 14, because Jupiter's been retrograde, I think it was at 14 or 15 degrees, I can't remember, but that started off this whole thing, and it peaked in August, but then it's still in orb all the way through to June of 2025, June of next year. And then the whole thing won't resolve and clear up. Now, I'm not saying the longshoreman strike will take this long, but these outer planets with Saturn isn't an outer planet. It's in the Kuiper belt. It's in, but definitely Chiron, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto. They're out there holding space for spiritual law, right? Jupiter and Saturn are working within, so Jupiter expands, it helps us expand. It helps us to get into alignment with spiritual law and man-made law too. And then Saturn's over here, where it's holding like a wall that, excuse me, you can't get through if you're out of integrity. You can for a while, and you can make a bunch of trouble, but eventually, at some point, it's father time, basically. Saturn is the planet that holds the time-space continuum, and it's the wall you hit when you can't go any further, and you need patience, and you need to figure out if what you want is even in alignment with spiritual law and in alignment with what would be good for your soul and for the planet and for everything else. And a lot of people get away with a lot of terrible things, and we sit back and watch and go, oh, wow, right? So that's about all I can see with it. I really wanted to dive into the water element of what's going on here. So let me go back to the well, no, wait, hold on. I better check. I think I got that all. Yeah, we've been noticing the Neptune sextile Pluto for quite some time, and that is Neptune holding space for us getting connected to our compassionate energy within, the place where we can go into unconditional love for our brothers and sisters. This would have to do with immigration. This would have to do with the compassionate space we hold for women to be in their power. We're not treated equally. We don't make the same amount of money that men do for the same job. We don't get the same jobs. We don't have the same opportunities that men do, just because of the way society has been set up. Well, when Pluto's finally and firmly into Aquarius, which, Pluto's going direct on the 11th, so we'll be talking about that. But Pluto won't be firmly into Aquarius until November 19th. So, and then that'll last for 20 years, all the way through to March. So far it's scheduled to be March 8th, 2043, but I won't believe it till we get there, and I don't know if I'll live. Who knows? I don't know how long I'll live. That's the thing. So, but if you're young listening to this, you can trust that you will have the experience of Pluto and Aquarius for 20 years, and then the experience of Pluto and Pisces for, I don't know, maybe another 20 years. We'll see. It has an elliptical orbit. So, yeah. I am just thinking, what is it that is the most important here when it comes to looking at the long-term, transits, the things that go beyond this week? And I did not get, I'm remiss, I did not get a meditation message this week. Nothing came through. And I think it's because there's just so much going on. Maybe it would be to do our best to meditate and center, because there's so much going on. With Mars midway through the sign, we're in that second decan, but it won't be long before we're down to the deepening the lesson. We're learning lessons in the second phase, the second 10 degrees to 19 degrees of a sign. We're in that learning lessons. But then the lessons are, this is kind of like the firk around and find out phase for some people. And then for others who are working hard to create safety and security within your home and your family, and maybe, it's fall, we're thinking of winter. I woke up to 33 degrees here this morning. It's like, okay. That's the problem here in Oregon. It's like when it's fall, then there's a certain point, and especially right past Halloween, it's like, damn, this is winter. It's not officially the first day of winter, but this is winter. So we're thinking about shoring up our, whatever we need to take care of, right? You have to winterize if you live in an area with snow. And this is that time. And then when we get to, with Mars into like 20 to 29 degrees, we will definitely be hunkering down even more. And this is every year, this is our season. And then if you're living in some states where, one of my dear friends emailed me yesterday saying she's going to have 103 degrees in California, in Northern California. It's like, what? Oh my gosh, that's crazy. In the summer, it's not, but, So the weather is all over the place. We could blame that, if we want to blame it on a planet. I would have to pick Neptune in Pisces, right? Weather, water-related, and then sometimes water-related with definitely ocean. And we know that when the temperature of the ocean rises, that's what throws off everything. So protecting the oceans is imperative and always has been. Most people don't pay any attention to that. But it's the key to everything. Now, with Pisces, that can be energy that's just all over the place. So to just go back for a minute to the sextile to Pluto, we will have more power and more integrity the more we can center ourselves and come into that compassionate place of just sending out as much love as we can all over the planet, and then getting into that relaxed place where you trust. No matter what happens in this lifetime, you can trust. Now, this is my belief. You don't have to take it on if you don't want to. But I believe that no matter what, you're always safe. You're always held in the Creator, right? And you are. It's like the drop in the ocean is a part of the ocean. It's the ocean in the drop. There's no difference between you and your Creator. It's just that a part of you decided to incarnate and experience life on Earth in order to work out something, because, of course, this is Earth school. Saturn would relate to Earth school. Saturn in Pisces, are we going to be compassionate? Or are we going to be all over the place? Or are we going to be victimized? Are we going to allow ourselves to be victimized and not make decisions and not vote? Or are we going to victimize and gaslight others? That's the test of Saturn in Pisces. Now, most of us have been using this energy to Saturn in Pisces to build our strong spiritual foundation. And that connection over to Mars, Mars is moving away. This is it's no longer an approaching, trine. It's a separating trine. So the energy is moving away. It's not as strong, but it's still there. This one is very strong here. And then that one's not as exact there, but it was. Well, it is now. If you do watch this video on, the 3rd or 4th today, Thursday, or the 4th tomorrow, Friday, Saturday, anywhere before this Monday, you're going to feel this square from Libra, the Libra Sun, to Ceres more intensely. And the square is going to make you feel like you have some obstacles, or maybe you're finally getting on board and knowing, okay, I've got a call to action here. And you're trying to, the square is like holding the center of 2 points that seem to be outside of you. But if you can center yourself in yourself and align with your spiritual realm and your guides, your guardian angels, all of that good stuff, then you can really build something. And we have this definite. Now let me go ahead and go back over here to the tight orb. Now you can see this aspect of the architect. This was the thing that I really wanted to make sure you guys saw for today, for Monday, October 7th. And I have set this chart for 5 a.m. And so you can see the in conjunct there to Saturn. So again, adjusting. Now, if we want to take, well, we can't at first, or I can't, but I'll talk about the political first. This is where I am seeing, so the sun shining a spotlight. Remember, the sun is at 14 degrees, so we're talking, that firk around and find out phase where we're learning lessons. With Mercury having gone into the heart of the sun, brought through information, the sun shines the light. Mercury's still there within 5 degrees here, pretty darn close. But Mercury's now moving into the phase of blooming with information. And what's the information about? Well, today Liz Cheney is campaigning with Kamala in Wisconsin. Or not today, October 7th, but today, Thursday, whatever this is, the 3rd, October 3rd. I think that's pretty amazing. Liz Cheney campaigning with the Democratic presidential. I mean, what? I love it. And then we have, and so here's the adjustment, right? So this would be Liz Cheney over here opening up to this compassionate adjustment. And no, she wants to fight for justice, so she's going to do whatever she can do. And then here we are with Jack Smith's focus on Trump's coercion of Mike Pence by saying, remember Trump said to Mike Pence, "You're too honest." Well, that right there is crucial evidence of Trump's intent. Because those were private conversations of unofficial acts, and that proves that Trump engaged in fraud. And then Trump even said, what did he say? Even if you lose, you still got to keep on fighting. Something like that. Like that right there. That proves everything. So these are private conversations that were previously private, because Congress could only get so much. Jack Smith was able to get cell phone conversations. He has interviewed, deposed everyone on Trump's team. So, he had information from, what was that guy's name, Mark Short, that Trump had put so much darn pressure on Mike Pence on January 5th, before, the day before the insurrection, that Mark Short, he said he had to alert the Secret Service that Trump was threatening an angry mob. So that's proof. There's another piece of evidence. That's proof. Oh my God. So that's the beginning of where Trump was really putting on the pressure onto Mike Pence to decertify the election and prevent the transfer of power. Again, Pluto in Capricorn. And Pluto was in Capricorn when all that was happening, right? So this is that final exclamation point. Even when Pluto goes direct on the 11th, it's not going to move much. Like I said, it's not going to get back to Aquarius until November 19th. So we're still going to be sitting in this all the way through the election. But what I do feel like is, it's just the evidence is out there. There's tons of evidence. And then people are telling Trump that they're threatening to hang Mike Pence, like his aides, that Mark Short and all these other guys were saying they're threatening to hang Mike Pence out there. This is all going on. I mean, we saw the footage of Trump partying in the background while a riot is going on. Him and his whole family were. Well, I think Ivanka was like, "Dad, you got to call this off. You got to call this off." You got to say something. And then he never would. Kimberly Guilfoyle, the screaming banshee, was back there dancing around and partying. They're probably totally coked up too. But anyway, so when people tell Trump that they're threatening to hang Mike Pence, Trump says, "So what?" Like, what? Can you believe that? And then in the other, I haven't read all 165 pages, but the other pieces that I remember was something about one of his cronies. He was like unnamed, but I feel like it's that same guy that was messing with, still messing with Fonnie Willis, the guy that was the attorney that was in charge of all that mess against Fonnie Willis. That still, that's up for December 6th, I think, for that to come through. I think there'll be another trial or beginning of a trial or something. Anyway, because they're trying to take her out of it, right? I think the dude's name is Mike Roman. And whoever this unnamed crony was, he said, "Make them riot." So there's that, okay? And here we are with the moon in Sag. Sag rules the political process and the legal processes, ruled by Jupiter, right? Jupiter in Gemini, bringing out. Here's the opportunity here for more information. Gemini's information. Jupiter expands, blows out the information, and then the opportunity is to finally get some independence away from these lies, because truth versus lies is definitely the Gemini, the Sag, I should say, truth, Sag, lies, Gemini, but both can lie either way, but that polarity is truth versus lies. And a half truth is still a lie, or a half lie is not a truth. Twisted and distorted. So this aspect of the architect here to the nodes, okay? Remember the nodal axis. Justice over here is what we're striving for. Justice, fairness, and equality. And putting yourself in the middle of that bridge where you make a choice, where you don't sit there and say, "Oh, I can't decide. I don't know enough about Kamala." All of that stuff. Well, to not make a decision is still a decision. And nobody should be in that wishy-washy territory at this time in our democracy. I mean, this is unprecedented, right? Pluto and Capricorn, every 243 or 248 years. When was what was the inception of our democracy? Or the first try at it, what was it? July 4th, 1776, when Pluto was at 27 degrees of Capricorn? Yeah. You think maybe something's up there? Gotta love astrology, right? So back to the polarities of this nodal axis here. Aries wants independence, okay? Independence, away from the corruption. And with the trine to the moon in Sag and the sextile over to the south node, we have the aspect of the architect to the nodal axis starting off this week. As soon as the moon moves, I mean, this is 5 a.m., but as soon as the moon moves out of that range, then it'll be gone. But first thing this morning, there's something there. So if you guys want to use this personally in the best way, it would be to use the Sag energy to get in touch with your freedom, with what you believe in, that will bring you into what matters most to you in life, what brings meaning into your life. Sag is all about exploring meaning and freedom. What do you have faith in? And I would never say to put yourself in a dangerous position where you're speaking up, into a crowd of maggots, anything like that. I would just say, use it to exercise your right to vote, right? The dark side of Sag is patriotic and religious dogma. The painful side of Sag is not being believed or being curtailed in your beliefs so that you can't vote, right? Imagine how painful it is to these people who wanted to vote they're in Appalachia and now they can't, right? Because of a storm, or maybe they're not with us on the planet anymore. And with the semi-square here from Pluto to Saturn, this could be speaking to, because, Saturn doesn't move that quickly, and Pluto's just going to sit there until beyond the election. This would be the delay. And we can bet that these storms will bring delays. We can bet that that would happen. I think they are doing some workarounds, though, and especially for voters, like military voters overseas. I think they're setting up, in some states, they're setting up online voting for them. So maybe that'll be the beginning of something there for other states as well. Yeah, so that's a question there. But anyway, I'm sorry, I got lost. The semi-square is 45 degrees of friction and indecision. Okay, so people need to wake up to their own power to exercise their vote. And then on another level too, because Saturn rules the government, Pisces is inclusive, and we want to include all the power of the vote, the tangible power of the vote. This can be on-the-job training for some people to set up a brand new system to accommodate for the the delays with the voting. And then again, we have those people that are created these rules, and there was those 3 people that created rules in Georgia, and that'll all go to trial. So there could be with the moon in Sag this Monday morning on the 7th. It's very possible that there could be some new court cases, lawsuits, whatever put out there, because with the moon at the early degree, really get that going. Because the moon rules the people, Sag rules the political process. And like I was saying before, when it comes to the painful side of Sagittarius is that being curtailed. Well, that would be the right to vote being stuffed down somehow. So there's that fight for that independence. This is fiery here. This is fire energy here, and then air energy over here that could bring in the structure. So, okay, and then we also have Venus in the exact sextile to Mars. Again, fast-moving energy that wants to protect. Mars is at 18 degrees of Cancer. Mars wants to get something. Mars can also rule, well, Mars also does rule the military. Mars rules tools, any kind of tools. Mars will fight. In Cancer, it's to protect. In Cancer, it is about, there's a patriotic side of Cancer. It's to protect the homeland. It would be the fight for the homeland. Just got to make sure you're on the right side, And because if you're not on the side of democracy, you're not on the side of your country. You're just on the side of the dictator. Think it through. And then with the trine up to Venus, Venus wants harmony. Venus is about women. Venus is making comparison values. And in the sign of Scorpio, it's going deep. It's about refinement. It's about harmony through conflict. And it's all about transformation that brings in more opportunity, bottom line. Opportunity for the family, opportunity for protection of the family, protection of the feminine, Mars, Venus here together, right? So that is fantastic there. Jupiter, I did speak about this a little bit already with that opportunity for independence coming from, with the more information that comes out, the more we can decide our own fate to be more independent. And we still have that one leg of the, no we don't, this is an extra one, I'm sorry. This leg here, no, it's different because the moon's in a different place. So I'll rewind. reel my words back in my mouth. Pretend I didn't say that. Let's just start over. From the moon to Chiron, with this sesquisquare, again, 135-degree angle here. This is unexpected detours and disruptions to plans that will disrupt that feeling of independence that you're working towards. And because the moon in Sag is, there's, well, I am wondering how, let's see, there's a lot of different ways this could play out. Chiron in Aries is definitely the gift of knowing that you are an independent person and that you deserve to be here. If you are here in a body, you deserve to be here, and you need to know that. And you deserve to be daring to go towards whatever you are wanting in life and to assert your independence, assert your individuality. Don't abandon yourself. That's the key with Chiron and Aries. If you don't abandon yourself, you're not going to be fighting as much against life. But if you are impulsively looking for confirmation from others outside of yourself for your own existence and your own deserving, then you're not going to move forward. You're just going to be fighting in a paper bag, constantly trying to break out of it. But you will eventually. You just keep working it. And with the moon in Sag, it could bring up something this morning, or this morning that you work through all day long. Actually, in the realm of which way do you want to go? Sag it's all about it's about inspiring us and getting us on our paths. It's about searching for meaning. It's about taking advantage of opportunities that can come in. And again, it connects to the South Node. In Libra, it could be about relationships and partnerships where you're having to make a decision. Like, are you going to stay in this relationship or partnership, whatever it is? Is it holding you back to the future that you want to be in? Or have you lost, with Venus and Scorpio and then Libra over here, have you lost trust in someone or something? And that's what's on the table there personally. And it could apply to politically too, because imagine somebody just now, as of like yesterday, the last couple of days, waking up, to things that Trump has said. Like yesterday, he said, so not yesterday, Monday here, but yesterday, which would be Wednesday, October 2nd, he finally just actually said the quiet part out loud, that he would deport immigrants who are here legally, and that he would revoke the temporary protective status. So I think he was really speaking about the legal, Haitian immigrants in Ohio. And he acts like there's like 60,000 of them, and there's really only 15. But, if you're a Latino for Trump, you might want to rethink your affiliation, because he has no love for any person of color. Okay, remember he said he'll only be dictator on day one. Yeah, because that's all it would take. Okay. So all of these political problems here's another thing that might come up with the moon in Sag. All of these political problems with Trump could have been nipped in the bud a long time ago if it weren't for SCOTUS's decision to collude with this dictator. All right? All of these political problems are coming from their ploy to delay justice. Right? And therein lies that aspect of the architect, politically looking at it in the light and the dark. Okay, so I'm done with Monday. Let's go to Tuesday. Now, Tuesday, we have tons of aspects coming from the moon, but the important thing is that Mercury's here at 21 degrees, trining Jupiter at 21 degrees exact this morning at 5:23 a.m. What that means is that we have some fast-moving tons of fat, tons, because, Jupiter, big, a lot of information, Gemini, moving quickly. And Mercury rules Gemini and Virgo, but it's at 21 degrees, so we're in that last decan of the sign. So this is like a flower who has bloomed fully, and this is all about justice, fairness, and equality. It's all about relationship and all things that you want to engage in relationship and sharing opportunities. On the dark side, if people didn't get the lesson during the firk around and find out phase, which the sun is still in that phase, it's still in the middle there, right? Because it's at 15 degrees. But Mercury went into the heart of the sun, gave some information, and people could have gotten it, and maybe they have it now. But if not, they'll be wavering, they'll be non-committal, they'll be maybe even trying to manipulate others with their passive, whatever. Floundering around is kind of just not committing. But there's the opportunity to commit because the information comes out, and maybe they will, and it does connect to this aspect of the architect down here. Again, back over to Chiron, because remember this, see how Jupiter's at 21 degrees 20 minutes, Chiron's at 21 degrees 29 minutes, but it's going retrograde, so we can say that this will be sitting here for a little while. I didn't look forward to see how long it'll be here, but this leg of the aspect of the architect will be sitting here for a while. Mercury will move on pretty quickly. But focusing down here, it really is about what I was saying before, expanding your thought processes, expanding your learning process that helps you to create win-win situations in life and helps you to trust yourself, believe in yourself, and move forward based in your own instincts that come from within, without you don't really even have to think about it. Jupiter's already given you all the information. It's about trusting yourself. But, you always have to check in. We always have to check in with our higher selves and go, wait, why do I want this? Do I really want this? That's why Aries sometimes is like one step forward and two steps back. And then Cancer's like, okay, here, okay, here. It's like, that cardinal energy that goes here, and then and then Libra's over here going, I can't find my balance, right? That's the three cardinal energy there. And then you get up to a Capricorn, and Capricorn's like, come on now. Capricorn will help you get in touch with what you really want. So, but we get to figure all that out. That's the beauty of being human, or the messy part, I should say. Let's see. Okay. Also, we have the moon has made it up to 18 degrees of Sag. So now we are definitely towards the very end of the learning lesson phase. But we have an in conjunct quincunx coming down to Mars. Notice how 18 degrees, both there. This is exact this morning. And so there's an adjustment this morning. And I think it's just what I was talking about. It's like you've learned so much and you thought you knew what you wanted. But now there's something new to believe in. And there's an adjustment that needs to be made on the home front, maybe. Now, also, Mars in Cancer is very good, very, very, very good at self-care, and especially at this, midway phase of learning lessons. So if all last week you were learning more about how to take better care of yourself, then you've done a really good job. Mars and Cancer, Mars moves energy, Cancer brings it inward. If you've gotten more in touch with yourself and who you are, you've done a good job. And if that's the case, then this quincunx up here to the moon would just bring through the adjustment to say something about it, speak up for yourself. Sag is really good about speaking up for ourselves. Once we figure out what we really believe in, and we don't get that from outside, we do get information, and then we can bring it in our own processes and think about it, but we don't really get it unless we go deep within. And that's what Cancer and Scorpio facilitate. And we have Mars trine Venus and Scorpio. Mars in Cancer trine Venus and Scorpio. This is perfect. So that's personally, I would see what's on the, or say what's on the table for today. And yeah, getting the truth, talking about the truth, listening to other people talk about what's true and what's not. You know, we're well beyond just the facts, ma'am, and now the facts are out. This is Jack Smith's 165-page document of facts about all kinds of things that he knew all about and he was saving for trial. And then SCOTUS, or I should say Scrotus, dropped in and said, "Oh, wait. He has immunity. The president has to have immunity for official acts." No, but they did it. And so, yeah, we can see what their future has in store for them. Because I don't think that's going to be pretty someday. Isn't it 70% of Americans have no faith in SCOTUS at this point? I mean, we've lived through Bush v. Gore and the hanging chads and what was his name, Jeb, you know, in Florida, and those, wasn't there a riot? Wasn't there the Brooks Brothers riot or something back then? I mean, they've been corrupt for so long. It's time to get 5 of them totally off the bench. I'm okay with Amy Coney Barrett right now, actually. Because I think she's coming around, but I'm not okay with those other 5 men. They're awful. They are absolutely awful. And Alito is probably the worst. Anyway, that's my opinion, and I have a right to it. Let's go to Wednesday. Wednesday, we have Jupiter retrograde. That comes in, see how it's 21. See how it turned red. That's the way my system is. Instead of the little RX, we get the degrees and times in red. It happens at 12:05 a.m. Pacific time. And the moon's still in Sag when it happens, but it's at 28 degrees, 38 minutes. This is almost at that anaretic degree. Things are very intense. Jupiter is about politics and justice and the courts of law and spiritual law and healing, hopefully healing some minds. And you can see we still have, of course, we'll have that sextile there over to Chiron. And that will hopefully help everyone know that they matter. And with the moon moving into Capricorn soon, that happens at, see, this is right after midnight. This is at 2:38 a.m. So whatever time you wake up in the morning, probably the moon will be in Capricorn because this is Pacific time. Eastern time would be, 3 hours ahead. So, yeah, the moon in Capricorn, and then with Jupiter going retrograde, this takes us, so I don't mind when the planets go retrograde. I just don't at all. I feel like it's time for redoing, and when it comes to Jupiter, we're talking about healing energy, so it could be renewing. And in Gemini, it brings through the ability to communicate better, to connect the dots better inside of us, or connect the dots in whatever we're trying to learn, because, Gemini is so much about learning. And Gemini, at the best sense, can be just taking opportunities and connecting the dots and finding opportunities that just multiply. Just go out and multiply. Like, just think of like the 2 mirrors here, the 2 sides of the coin in the mirrors. And we could think about that with Libra as well. except for Libra's Gemini's learning, and Libra's trying to balance out whatever has been learned, or learnt if you're in the UK. Of course, if you're in the UK, you're probably not listening to me. You're probably listening to Pam Gregory. So anyhow, with Jupiter going retrograde, so this happens at 21 degrees. It's going to retrograde all the way back to 11 degrees of Gemini, and it'll go direct. The retrogradation process will end on February 4th of next year, of course. So, yeah, it's going to be for quite some time, but that's okay. But it's going to go all the way back to 11 degrees. So if you have any personal planets, between 21 and 11 degrees, Jupiter's going to go back over those planets, or actually even the transpersonal planets if you have... if you have this transit hit, or a hot point, like your ascendant, IC, descendant, or midheaven, if you have Jupiter there, or if you have Jupiter transiting there, this will be really important for you. This will make a big difference in your life, because Jupiter will go in and expand that area. So you're going to want to see which house, right? Which house is Jupiter transiting through at this time in your life. And then if it's going to bump up against any planets or get within 2 or 3 degrees of any other planets, that'll be important. Like anyone born in the 70s, I think you guys had Saturn in Gemini. So you might have Jupiter bump against your Saturn, or get close to it, or literally land on it at some point during that 11 degree. So if you have Saturn between 11 and 21 degrees, you've already had Jupiter crossing over your Saturn, actually, and now it's going to go back and work it a little bit more. So Jupiter, if it's crossing over your Saturn, Jupiter would help expand places within you that were previously kind of, I hate using the word rigid because I don't mean it in a bad way, but think of it as structures that were in place, have been in place, and maybe those structures aren't working so well. Oh God, my brain is so weird. I just had this, I watch Stephen Colbert. I never watch at night usually. Well, I have before, but rarely. Anyway, squirrel moment there. I usually watch him in the morning. And the other morning, I just flashed back to watching him. I can't remember what he was talking about. I can't even remember. Oh, yeah. Oh, this is another squirrel moment, but apparently we have another moon that's coming into orbit with our moon. So it's like we have a second moon, and it's because of some asteroid, I guess, I don't know if a moon got lost off of an asteroid. I don't know. I didn't even bother to look it up, because it's only going to be around, I think, 8 weeks or so, and it's no big deal. It's nothing that we can see. It might mean something. I don't really care. I'm busy. We've got enough here, right? I don't want to complicate the mix. But anyway, Stephen Colbert was talking about that moon. But then he says, but the moon it's not going to stick around. It's just going to come in and in. And so he's like, you got to be like Saturn and put a ring on it. So there's my astrological joke that I stole from Stephen Colbert. So Jupiter bumping up against Saturn might, or having that transit of Jupiter retrograding back over a Saturn that has already had Jupiter cross over it, right? Because retrogradations have a threefold phase. The planet goes over one planet, and they connect with each other, and it's like, oh, okay, it's kind of like like a ticket. Here's your ticket into this portal. Let's play with this, whatever. Here's your adventure. Here's your whatever. Uh, Jupiter, it will expand a person's consciousness and make you want more and make you believe that there is more. And so if you have Saturn in Gemini, Jupiter going back over the transit that, that territory it already covered, is going to go back and say, okay, you didn't take advantage the first time to be free of this limitation or to pass a test. Now, because this could very well be, because Saturn is a planet of testing, it could be that you took an exam or you've been preparing for an exam and now finally you get to take it while Jupiter's retrograde. Or maybe it won't happen until it goes direct next year, next February and in there. But this is, this is an opportunity to build something. Because remember, Saturn and if you're born in the 70s, if you're born in the early 70s especially, the Saturn to Jupiter, these are the builders of the zodiac. So it's important. When these two planets come together, it's really important. So yeah. Now, if you weren't born in the 70s, you probably know, or maybe have kids or friends or grandkids or somebody that was born in the 70s, and there you go. Now you can help them. Tell them to put a ring on it. Or maybe they're trying to take the ring off. Right? Maybe that's what it's about. I mean, we have to, still remember that we've got the South Node in Libra, and we've got all this Libra energy over here. So it's definitely relationship related, I think. But it could also be partnership related when it comes to the way we make money, because Venus rules Libra. So, okay, so I feel complete with that little blurb, but let's explore Jupiter some more. Jupiter helps us to, like I said, we're expanding. It's kind of like cardinal energy. It helps us to begin things. Expansion helps us to begin things that what were previously seemed to be previously cut off. Jupiter going retrograde in Gemini very well can put us into that realm of wanting to learn something new, being more curious. Gemini is all about curiosity. So we're questioning things from different angles. We're more curious about things that we were not curious at all about before. Or maybe we were a little bit, but then we didn't act on it. Gemini is all about gathering information. Gemini is all about, now this could relate into Mars and Cancer as well, especially with the trine to Venus, but that understanding that there is a real need, and most of us didn't have that met when we were growing up, but it's the real need to be seen and heard and understood. And in relationship, without that, we usually don't commit. There can be pain around not being seen or heard or understood. And now we all know that whatever unresolved issues we have with our parents, that's the kind of person we partner up with, because we're trying to work something out through the vehicle of relationship. So this Jupiter retrograde process may bring up those issues. So yeah, what else? With Jupiter, well, like I said, all types of legal issues, all types of travel issues, all types of, there could be some, airline issues where maybe they get some upgrades. Jupiter could be an upgrade to the system so that it works better. There's that possibility. During this process or during this retrogradation. Let's see. Jupiter is also, it's just so much about healing. It has to do with opening things up, exploring what we want to believe in. It gets us exploring things, and then from there we decide what we want to believe in or what we actually do believe in. And it helps us to figure out what we want to invest our energy in. Maybe Jupiter retrograde will help people understand that we really should curtail our airline travel because of climate change. Because there's nothing like rocket fuel and jet fuel that, on the it's that first law of physics. Nothing is for naught. Nothing is gone. It's just a transformation of the energy, so that that gallon of jet fuel or rocket fuel, whatever it is, it doesn't just burn up and go nowhere and then it's poof, it's gone. No, it goes up into the atmosphere and then it changes the way even the ocean works later on. I mean, it's the whole, yeah. So, yeah. So anyway, with Jupiter, we're talking expansion into opportunities to create more abundance, to think in new ways, to invest in new ways. It does rule all type of growth. So in Gemini, we would think of the growth of information and the growth of information exchange. And bottom line, I just keep feeling into like courts of law. Courts of law. Now also, Jupiter can relate to famous people. It can also relate to excess. And, who do we know that has, all this stellium of Gemini between 20 and 22 degrees? And, right, this is Trump. So Jupiter is is transiting over and will be retrograding and staying there and sitting there, right? And maybe, because brain, we've got brain here, maybe tumor on the brain, maybe because it's going to connect with Uranus, and Uranus brings upsets and whatever. Jupiter, Uranus can bring brain problems, technology problems. He's not too technically inclined, but anyway, I mean, Jack Smith got everything he needed from his computer systems and from his campaign computers. And so there's that. So there's the court, there's the law and the legal system that hit his reality hard. Let's see, what else? I think that's about it. I can't think of one more thing when it comes to Jupiter. If you guys do, drop it in the comments. But yeah, let's see, what else? The moon is squaring, so early this morning, squaring Neptune. This makes for good dream time. It could be a weird dream, though, that you wake up and go, makes you wonder about that. But let's go, let me bump this forward. Come on, hours, there we go. Because it's just way too early. There's 4:05 a.m., there's 7 a.m. That would be 7 a.m. Eastern. So the moon's in Capricorn there. So you can tell the moon's headed towards Ceres. Remember, Ceres is all about protecting. And in Capricorn, it's our bottom line. So we're thinking that way. And the moon's also headed towards Capricorn. The Capricorn moon is headed towards Pluto. So as this day unfolds, it's really going to be about the moon connecting with Ceres. So the moon in Capricorn changes our mood in the sense that we're going to be more goal-oriented and willing to work and planning ahead so that we can create more opportunities in life to be more structured. It's the moon in Capricorn is self-structuring. So that's good. But it's going to hit up Ceres it moves about a half a degree every hour. So it's, it'll get there, and then it's going to bump up against with Ceres with that connection to the sesquisquare to Uranus, and Uranus in Taurus, no less. Yeah. You know, you guys, I know it's a hump day, but with Jupiter retrograde, it can have you being more internally thinking. Mars in Cancer is definitely internal, an internal process of growth. And then with Uranus in Taurus, there could be this kind of like a breakthrough in abundant thinking, because the mood, with the moon in the mood of Capricorn, it can have you feeling very strategic and being more patient with yourself and more determined and more disciplined to be more self-responsible. As long as you don't cut yourself off from your heart, and you think about things that you would want to do that you really, really love, and go towards, like in your thinking capacity. What I'm getting here is that for all of us personally, the best way to handle this day is to dive into the opportunity of thinking that you already have what you want, sitting in that place of already having what you want. And every time you catch yourself going into the place of but I want this, remind yourself that when you're in the wanting, you're not in the having, and then you prolong the not having. Okay? You have to already have it. So go to the place where, dang, my refrigerator's full, or dang, I got the laundry done, or I got this project done, or I have this much money in the bank, I have this, go to, just put yourself in that world. This is what it's like in the spirit world. In the spirit world, you think of something and you feel it, and then bam, you've got it. Because there's no friggin' Saturn to stop anything. Of course, in the spirit, in the high levels of the spirit world, you can't have a negative thought, which Saturn can be about. The challenge with Saturn can be the pessimism, the crippling inhibition to sit in negative, just sit and spin in negativity. But the beautiful side of Saturn can be that, that serious determination. And I'm speaking to Saturn now because Saturn rules Capricorn. So with the moon headed towards Ceres and then headed towards Pluto, let me just go ahead and go to Thursday. Because there you go. See, now the moon's on the other side already at 8:44 a.m. And now the moon is headed towards Pluto. So we're firmly in a Capricorn stellium, which puts us back into that place where we don't mind doing the hard work. We want responsibility. We want to be in control. We want to control our time even. We want to, we don't mind working hard, and we don't mind having that sense of, well, we do have that mood for duty and self-responsibility. We don't like not being respected. When the moon's in Capricorn, watch out. Do not be disrespectful to somebody else, because you're going to get it right back in your face. We don't like narcissistic behavior. When the moon's in Capricorn, we're going to be reacting to that. When the moon's in Capricorn, people don't like being overlooked either. So try to recognize and respect your friends and loved ones when the moon's in Capricorn. That will help. And just put yourself in their place, right? So okay, we have a yod, a finger of fate, finger of God, whatever you want to call it. It's 150 degrees here and 150 degrees here, coming off of Chiron and coming off of Jupiter. So I already spoke a lot about Chiron and Jupiter together. There's that again. I'll just say it one more time, that opportunity to learn more about yourself and expand in ways that you want to grow, and to believe in yourself, and to put yourself in the place of trusting your instincts and going towards your independence. And bottom line, do not abandon yourself. Belong to yourself, and you're going to be fine. And if you have any trouble, it would point to a relationship where you're demanding, and maybe with too many words, demanding attention. And the Venus and Scorpio over here person is like, you know what? I'm busy working and making money and trying to keep things going in the right direction. And I'm deeply committed in that realm. So back off. That could happen. If you've, if you've ever experienced somebody that just keeps coming at you when you've said, I'm working, or they're just not responding at all. Maybe it's because they're working, and then you take it the wrong way. Like if you're over here on this side, and you can't imagine that somebody's just working for 4 hours, and because if you haven't heard from them in 4 hours, don't go into the place of like, oh no, right? We're dealing with those dynamics with this yod, okay? The best way to use the energy. Now, the quincunx, those, again, just bottom line, just think you don't feel truly centered because of Venus up here. It's going to be around relationship or money or some crisis. If you can use the energy to get centered, you're going to feel much better. With Jupiter and Gemini, maybe what the deal would be is you're waiting for someone to respond, or you're waiting for the answer to come through, or you're waiting for anything. Just keep yourself busy by learning something new. Try to distract your mind, distract your ego. Tell your ego, okay, we're going to do this instead for now. Okay, because we're not going to mess with this other thing going on here. We're gonna learn something new, or connect some dots in some way that will be helpful later. We're going to gather some information that might be helpful later. And then, because the point is coming to, the Venus and Scorpio situation. Venus is about relationship and money, bringing harmony into life. Now, Venus can be indulging. In Scorpio, it can be, take all the Scorpio things: sex, death. But Scorpio is so beautiful when it comes to transformation, right? Transitioning through realms that bring through something better, and getting out of crisis and going deeply into issues around intimacy and trust. And it can be intense. Secrets could come out. Politically, this could be some secrets that come out today on October 10th, anytime around 8:44 a.m. and beyond. This doesn't play well for P. Diddy at all, or anybody else connected to him on the dark side. But with the two quincunxes in conjunction on both sides, we do have the need for an adjustment. And when it comes to scorpionic energy, we are dealing with the fear of betrayal and the fear of going deep. So again, like I said, Mars is over here in Cancer holding space for going within, and that is probably just the best way to work it. Just go within. If you're feeling impulsive, go within and ask yourself why. If you're feeling impatient, go within and figure out what it is. Maybe it takes you back to some time in your childhood when you didn't have your real needs met, when you didn't have food and you didn't have love and you didn't have connection and you didn't have warmth. And that's a real thing. Work on those real needs, because that'll shift everything once you do that. So, okay, let's go ahead and go to Friday. Friday, we have tons of aspects to the moon. Pluto goes direct at 5:34 p.m., but I set this clock, this clock. I set this chart for 3:31 a.m. Pacific time. Okay. You can see that we have the Mercury here at 26 degrees of Libra, directly squaring the moon, and it actually is within orb of Pluto as well. This is the reason I set the chart for 3:31, is so that you can see that no matter what time you wake up, you're probably going to be waking up with the moon conjunct Pluto energy in Capricorn. Now, this can be a very psychic opening. And same thing, too. I should have talked about Scorpio in the psychic sense. And Cancer and Scorpio and Pisces, those are our psychic signs. Okay? The other planets can be very psychic as well, but I've never seen a psychic's chart without seeing a lot of water, or at least placements in the water houses, the 4th, 8th, and 12th. So, okay. So psychic abilities here and here. The moon is a psychic planet, also ruling the mood. And connecting with Pluto, we're talking about issues of power. Pluto brings things to light, and it will try to bury things because it's hiding. In Capricorn, we're talking about corruption. People who have been corrupt in the past are still trying to hide. It's not working. It will bring through humbling experiences that need to be there. Pluto will help eliminate corruption of powers. Pluto will help empower people who are working in the light. Pluto will cleanse things so that we can evolve. So in Capricorn, it's all about integrity. It's all about taking self-responsibility for knowing that your beliefs create your reality. It's all about respecting yourself and respecting others, and putting in the hard work, the time and the hard work. The moon trining Uranus exactly this morning is, I love this. This is abundance, the quick moving opportunity for abundance this morning. So again, if you woke up with a dream, with an idea of a way to be more safe and secure or make money, or maybe you invented something in dream time, and you wake up going, oh, I could do that now. There you go. Because the moon relates to dream time, Pluto relates to dream time, nighttime, the underworld, and Uranus is awareness and aha and inventions and revolutionary. It's also about independence, and it's also about something very intuitive and original. It's the change agent. The moon in Capricorn can definitely bring through a connection to the change agent, Uranus, and the abundance of Taurus. So that's cool. I like seeing that. Ceres is now in an exact sextile, and this will be for some time. I'll get a date later. I don't have it today to see when this will end. But now we have an opportunity coming in that's been building, but now it's an exact hit of the Ceres energy that brings through the opportunity to protect more of your bottom line, the people you love, all the physical, tangible aspects of your life, and to do that in a way that brings in maybe a stronger structure, because Saturn is definitely structured. Sometimes Saturn can be about bringing in a new job. It can be about long-term plans. It can be about where will you be. Actually, the question to ask ourselves is, where would we be disciplined enough to have the duty? And it's both. I mean, it doesn't matter if I speak to Saturn over here or all the Capricorn energy over here, and especially Ceres and Capricorn. It's all the same. The only thing to mix it up a little bit is to bring in the element of Pisces, which is thinking way outside the box. Take off all the limitations out of your brain and imagine the biggest you could ever, Pisces can be the pure potentiality of unlimited everything. Put the infinity symbol right there and you've got Pisces, okay? But the opportunity here is to structure all of that possibility into something that could really serve you in your life, you and your family and the structure of your life, because that's what Ceres is all about. Now, on the level, because Ceres rules women's reproductive rights, here we have the opportunity coming in. This bodes really, really well for this month before the election, or these last, less than a month before the election. This is perfect to have here. I love seeing that. Yeah. Okay, and then, Pluto still, we still have that not square, what am I saying, semi-square, where people are, maybe that's really just about the indecision of finding a new decision because they don't like what they've been experiencing in Trump world, and maybe they don't know which way to go, but at least they're not stuck to that one side, right? That's a good way to look at that too. And of course, you can see we still have the yod, okay? We have a semi-square over here from the south node. So the Libra south node, justice, fairness, equality, trying to find the balance of justice that would bring in the fairness and equality, and fighting for it, right? Because the Aries-Libra polarity can definitely fight. It can be about war, too. And then here we have the battle against women and reproductive rights from the corrupt ones. That's, wow. So there shouldn't be any more, well, maybe that's what these two semi-squares are about, is just that people, because it doesn't seem to matter which side which party you're affiliated with. I think it's 80% of people do not think it's fair, even if they would never have an abortion themselves or don't believe in it or whatever because of their religious whatever affiliation. They don't want to put that on somebody else. And now, with Jupiter in Gemini, we've been learning so much about how abortion a lot of times is health care, right? I mean, if somebody has a miscarriage, you need a D&C, or otherwise you're going to wind up with sepsis. And this is why women are dying. But, these idiots over on Scrotus think that they know it all, even though they don't have any female reproductive system. And now women are pissed and digging their heels in because it's not fair and it's not just. So this bodes well for this time before the election. And then here we have the detour. Notice that Venus is up here holding space for women's reproductive rights. And we're coming from the past where we've learned enough and we understand that women will die. Like I said months ago, women will die. And they have been, and now they're out there, and we know firsthand what's happened. Or not firsthand, secondhand, I guess. And then with the sesquisquare here, there is that disruption to the plans. And so the detours headed towards the freedom, Mars rules Aries here, that movement away from trying to control women, and we're headed in this direction. So this bodes well, really well for voting. Dang. Okay, Mercury here at 26 degrees of Libra. Okay, so now we are really at close to the end of, and you'll see the chart. We'll have Mercury and Scorpio coming up. Or maybe I have to just fast forward it ahead. I forget what I did. I just did it earlier, but I can't remember. So Mercury in Libra is, again, the thinking, the talking, the communication, the articulating, the negotiating, the linking up patterns, connecting the dots as to what is just, what is fair, what is needed in order to balance out a situation. And things are getting intense, as the later degrees of any sign will do. It will bring through the intensity. And again, it's all about fairness. It's all about relationship. Nobody wants the government controlling your decisions about your body. That is a complete violation of any spiritual law, and it should not be in our man-made laws. But it is, because of Scrotus. And so you can see that in conjunct quincunx down to Uranus. This tells me there's a major adjustment that'll be pretty darn shocking. So I think this has to do with a lot of people engaged in early voting, getting their mail-in ballots mailed out and maybe receiving them right after this energy or during this energy. And there we have it. I love it. So, okay, let me go forward, because I don't think I did a separate chart for Pluto direct, but let's just do this. There's 531. There we go. Wait, was that it? That's it. Okay. 532. Okay. Yeah. See, it said 534 in my ephemeris, but no. Here's proof right here that they can't, because it's a planet that moves elliptically, and they can't say exactly the degree or the time of the degree. This actually happens at 5:32 p.m. So Pluto's now direct. Like I said, it's not going to move. But the cool thing is that the planet that rules women was back here. And actually back here, well, it was way over here before, and then it connected with Ceres, picked up all of that women's reproductive rights energy, and then connected with Pluto on the levels of power, who has the power, basically. And now the moon in Aquarius at this point is bringing through a whole new way to look at things. It can be much, much more objective, is a better way to say it. It can be revolutionary. So the moon connected to Pluto was also connected to the semi-square to Saturn. And yeah, I think I talked about that already. We still have this one in conjunct. We have a new one coming off of Mercury over to Neptune. Okay, that's pretty powerful. So as Pluto goes direct, stations direct, it's still sitting there, but still there's a connection, an adjustment, a need for an adjustment coming from Mercury, communication, the mind, justice, balance, fairness, Libra, connected over to Neptune. And so there's a connection here to people who were gullible enough to believe that Trump cares about them at all. Trump doesn't care about anybody except himself and his money. And he only relates to himself in terms of how much money he has, so he doesn't even know himself. And there's that. So to get on board with something like that, maybe more people see this as an adjustment to nah, I'm not going there. I'm going to get away from that. Maybe people will be leaving the cult. And maybe there's somebody who leads that. Maybe somebody's going to channel Mercury the messenger in Libra and say, hey, wake up. I mean, a lot of people have left him already, right? A lot of people have left him. And dang, like Liz Cheney campaigning with Kamala, that's something. That's really something. And I'm doing this reading, like a week before this, more than a week before this date, so I can't tell you what's exactly going to happen. I can usually tell that there'll be a lot of news dumps, which I got last week, and there was. So but this week feels like it's more the week of trying to stay centered and balanced, and then just kind of in a holding pattern of what we really, really want for our future. But remember, spiritual law states that you can't create abundance from lack, so we have to sit in the place of already having it. We have to see Kamala as president already, and Tim Walz as vice president, and the other clowns they're going to do what they do anyway, and they're still going to try to say the election was stolen, and there's going to be all of that to deal with. But we're more prepared than ever for that. Remember that Kamala her campaign has Mark Elias on their team, so he's going to be doing his best to put those lawsuits in place that need to be put in, as that arises. But the whole thing may come down to understanding all the votes coming in and getting it all in. It may very well be delayed a bit because of weather in some states, and the weather that's already happened in some states, and in Georgia. Georgia's going to be the state, I think, that messes things up the most. But I could be wrong, and maybe we'll be prepared enough. So if we hold space for that and imagine everything going smoothly because we have been prepared, that's the place to be. That's what we need to focus in on. So, okay, that would take care of Pluto going direct in a sign of integrity and authority, and having a goal in place that's firm and committed and strong. The moon opening up the realm of thinking outside the box and thinking long term, thinking of change, thinking of, most of all, independence. That's the way to go. We've got a little tiny semi-sextile here, and this is just an opportunity. It's the beginning of an opportunity. Now, with sextiles, there are opportunities, but you have to commit. They have to commit. But when we have a little sextile coming in, there's the opportunity to think about, is this something I want to work on manifesting? Is it something I could commit to? So and the commitment would be to go towards growth. With Mars at 20 degrees of Cancer, we are in the blossoming sign, or deepening something that is very secure and stable. Like, think of if you were building a house, it's like, okay, foundation's done. We can start putting on, the walls, or we can start anchoring things down to the foundation. Plumbing and all that would be in too, right? So, okay, let's go. Let me do this just to, wow, that brings in a whole lot more. I wanted to see if there were any more aspects to the moon, and yes, there are, because of course the moon is moving towards the north node, so the sextile opportunity, to look forward to the future. Again, it's all about independence. You can see how the square, but that's, well, no, the sun is moving away, so that's a waning square. It doesn't really count anymore. Mercury to Pluto, that's important, that square there. But this is good for people thinking about a new way to vote, honestly. This is. Pluto being, the bearer of power and empowerment. And we're all going in a certain direction anyway. We might as well be going in the direction of love, going in the direction of inclusiveness and harmony. And with Mercury in Libra, there's a lot of talk about that. Justice, fairness, and equality. It's pretty dark to think about people who want something for themselves, but they don't want anybody else to have that. Right? Just think about it. Like, let's say you immigrated here. I'm thinking that what brings to mind, and I don't want to bash them, but this is an example. Latinos for Trump. Like, what? You're an immigrant. Although now, if you're a Native American, you're the original. You guys are the OG, right? Greatest of all time and all that. But if you immigrated here and now your legal status and you've been here a while, but you're going to vote for Trump because you don't want any more immigrants coming in, then you don't want for someone else what you got. What's up with that? Like, that violates a spiritual law. And so it's like, go back to square one when it comes to integrity. But this is a once in a lifetime transit, so I don't know. You're going to get it this lifetime? Well, maybe when Pluto is in Aquarius, you'll get it. Maybe. So, okay, I'm not going to bag on them anymore. Yeah, all these other angles here are waning because these are faster moving planets, but it's still in play. The Mars, yeah, okay, now I'm glad I brought this in. Mars T-square, and so this is coming in, and this will be in for some time. So we've had the Sun square Mars. Let's just look at this leg first, because this one's building, this one's getting ready to, this one's getting ready to be exact. So again, Mars moves energy, it motivates, it makes us want something, right? It activates us in the direction that we want something. Again, safety, security, this is kind of what I was thinking about with the Latinos for Trump. So you want security and safety and family security for you and your family, but you don't want anybody else to have that here? Well, that's not fair, right? And that's squaring the sun. The sun brings in a focus of attention, a spotlight, the light shining on something. What it's shining on is fairness, justice, and equality. That's the Libra side. So there's that tension field. And then it harkens back to, this is also going to be exact, we've got 20 degrees here and 21 degrees here. It harkens back to Chiron exactly. And remember, Eris is just sitting there holding space for the power of women to come through in its full. I mean, it's in the last decan. It's still, it's not going to move into Taurus until 2048, so don't get excited. But it's just going to sit there and hold space for the independence of women, to put it in a nutshell. Chiron is there. It's retrograde, but it'll go direct. When does Chiron go direct? Next, that won't be until next year. Yeah, so there's that. I'll get some firm times. It's not until 2025. So, but anyway, but with Chiron in Aries again, it's back to moving forward in your independence. Most of all, it vibes very, very well because it's both Aries. Vibes very well with Eris. But with the square to Mars, again, what do you want? It's all about, what do you really want? And in Cancer, we want the best way to use this energy with Mars and this T-square to the Sun. This is a lot of cardinal energy here, movement-oriented energy, and the best way to use it is to be willing. If you want your soul to grow so that it's completely at one with your spirit, with all the light and unbelievably powerful spirit, if you want that, you have to be willing to feel all of your feelings. You have to be willing to allow yourself to be moody and not judge yourself for it. You have to be willing to not project your moodiness out onto others, but just feel it yourself. You have to be willing to go into your trauma of the past and process it through and not project it on anyone else. You have to be willing to let go of your fixation on survival and your fear. And sometimes being selfish, right? Cancer energy, all of these Actually, any sign can be selfish. But with Cancer, the selfishness is coming from fear, the fear of survival. Same thing with Taurus, so too, you know. So yeah. Aries is so much about the new energy coming in towards an independent direction. I don't know that there's a lot of thought in it. It's much, much more instinctual because it's about existence. There's definitely thought that has gone into a lot because Cancer is, has already had the experience, or we've had the experience already of Gemini. So the beautiful part of Cancer would be trusting your feelings, going into your feelings, go through whatever process you need to get securely rooted and grounded in yourself, and then that connection with yourself and integrate it. Get very, very go through the process and then integrate the process, and then you'll be connected to your intuition. You'll be connected to your psychic abilities. You'll be connected to your emotional security within. You will have like your own mom and your own dad at home with you because you are both of them within yourself. And talk about being deeply rooted. And it continues to grow and grow and grow. So and another challenging side with Cancer, with this T-square here, you're going to want to be careful of getting into dependency, the dynamics of dependency and codependency. Okay? So, yeah. Okay, let's go to Saturday. Saturday, there we have the Mars T-square coming in exact at 5 a.m. There's that 20. Yeah, so I've already spoken about that. Only thing I didn't talk about was that opposition here. Mercury was actually in opposition, has been for quite some time, to Eris. So that just reinforces everything I've already said, though. This is just another one of those gotta love astrology moments where the oppositions are like mirrors. So you've got someone over here talking about, here, I'll do it this way. You've got someone over here talking about justice, fairness, and equality, talking, the messenger, justice, fairness, and equality. And then someone over here going, but what about me? And then we have to get into, okay, but we're all in this together. It's not me versus you. It's not us versus them. It's balancing out so that we include everything that's new, and then we're on that bridge to meeting each other in the middle. That's what Libra is all about. So I think Mercury and Libra can have some teaching, and then Chiron over here in Aries can help us to create the win-win situations. That the polarity of the Aries Libra energy will do that. So yeah, I don't see anything different. Mercury in conjunct Uranus, or quincunx Uranus. This can bring through an adjustment because there's a major intuitive hit. Now this could be Friday as well. Let's see. Mercury squaring Pluto. Yeah, we're talking powerfully with each other about issues of engaging. We're engaging Libra, engaging in conversation, Mercury, in powerful ways that bring through more independence. Aries over here. Notice the T-square here. Okay, Pluto's in T-square to Mercury, and actually it's a wider orb. Oh no, it's Eris. It's Eris. Oh my goodness! So that makes it even more powerful for the factor of, the feminine, because Eris brings through the feminine there. Yeah. Powerful conversations about women who've been fighting for power for their entire lifetimes and beyond. And how about we just all be fair and share it all, right? Because we're all in it together. If you were born, you came through a woman, whether you like it or not. God. And if you were a woman, you got pregnant by a man, whether you like it or not. I got to stop. I need to stop. Okay. The T-square down here, T-square up here, but they don't totally connect, so I can't say it's a grand cross. It's just those 9 degrees of separation between, oh no, it's more than that, between the Sun and Mercury. No, it's not. It's about 8, because this one's almost 28. Okay, so the T-square is what matters, and I already spoke to that. So let's focus in on, let me go back to the tight orbs, and let's focus on the moon. Nothing tight there for this morning. I'll forward it in a minute. Mercury into a tight sesquisquare to Saturn. Again, some detours and disruptions, I think, in relating, because people don't like the whole victimization thing that's going on. People don't like gaslighting. Could be news dumps about polarizing issues, is what I just heard. Polarizing issues in the government. That's really what's going to be spoken about on Saturday morning. You can see Mars is still in the T-square to the Sun and Chiron. So that's that. Yeah, still going on. The other aspects are still the same. Let's change it to hours here and go forward with the moon. See if, oops, right there. Okay, we have a semi-square to Neptune. So thinking outside the box is creating some indecision, but maybe some change when it comes to dissolving, getting out of delusion and dissolving, a vicious circle of being victimized. And also, with Pisces energy, sometimes it can be all over the place, and people won't take responsibility. Instead, they push it back out. Instead of the energy coming in, you see the glyph. Here, I do it that way. There, see the glyph. The energy can either go in and connect, or it can go out and push away. To go out and push away is to blame your circumstance on someone else instead of fighting for yourself. That's where Aries comes in. So if you're feeling all over the place, get in touch with what it is that's pulling you all over the place and find your healthy boundaries. Let's keep going. Yeah, those are two. That's just a little semi-sextile. Yeah. 15, 24, 20, let's see. Well, Venus, we've got Venus in conjunct. So this is in the afternoon, Saturday afternoon. We have an inconjunct coming from Venus is now hitting Eris. So there's some adjustments because women are getting much more courageous and digging their heels in and fighting, because we're at a crisis point. Okay, let's keep going. That's the last one I want to look at for tonight because this is at 6 p.m. and this is Mercury square Pluto. So again, talking about fairness, thinking about justice and equality, and again, challenging the status quo. Who has the power and who doesn't? Who do you think you are to tell me what to do with my body and blah, blah, blah. It's the same thing. It's just, we're working it. This is perfect for the vote. This is absolutely the way it should be. I mean, we're living it because that's how it is. So, okay, let me go to Sunday, and then we'll be done. Let's see. Sunday, this one's, again, I kept it for 5 a.m., but then we have to look at Mercury moving into Scorpio. But first, let's just focus in on Mercury at that nth degree, the anaretic degree of Libra, in the sign of Libra. So anaretic, just, it's kind of a fancy word for intense. So when things get intense in the sign of Libra, it's about relationships. It's about stimulating conversation, stimulating engaging relationships. It's about trying to find balance and fairness in partnership. It's about making decisions. And the only way to screw it up is to not treat somebody else equally. And it'll be painful if you encounter injustice. And if you're going to be a Mr. Nice or Miss Nice constantly, like peace at any price thing, if you're into people pleasing or appearance values, things can get intense, and power structures, power issues will come in because, again, remember, still that square to Pluto going on there, and it's exact first thing in the morning. So there could be some arguments Saturday night. You never know. Of course, with the politics now, because of the way things are, could be challenging. Let's see, the moon squaring Venus, also, yeah. With the moon in Aquarius at that later degree, things are blooming. So what's blooming in Aquarius? Something more innovative, something that's different. We're in the realm of tolerance versus bigotry. We're in the realm of not being treated humanely. If you want to victimize yourself and vote for that party, then, we'll see where that gets you. Nobody likes being pigeonholed when the moon's in Aquarius, but you might see a lot of intellectual pride, right? And just remember, pride comes before the fall. We might see rebellion. And the rebellion would be coming from women, and we could all imagine why, right? But maybe some women will wake up and rebel against the bigotry and not being treated fairly and being pigeonholed as a piece of property. Like, what are we? And then the moon sextile over to Eris. Ooh, don't mess with her. There's an opportunity to really make some headway here on Sunday. First thing in the morning, right out the gate. Okay, the other aspects are the same, except we've got this aspect of the architect. This opportunity here has been there all along, but now this morning the sun shines a light on, I think it's really, just about how we're all in it together. More people are learning and getting the details. And, yeah. And now we've got that exact 9 degrees away from Mercury. Mercury's really moving away. Well, because it won't be long. A little after noon, Pacific time, will be in Scorpio territory. So now we'll be. This is the last throes of relating, and then we're going to be thinking about relationships and who do you trust and who do you want to be in partnership with. So let's go. There's 1 p.m. That's good enough. Mercury's in Scorpio. So everything's the same, except now we're thinking much more deeply. We don't mind getting in arguments. It's all about transformation. It's all about staying out of crisis and not creating crisis, but we don't mind the conflict to create that opportunity of peace. And Mercury's moving closer and closer, to Venus. Venus will be in Sag before too long, though. But now at least we've got, there's the power of the voice, the power, Pluto power, of the voice of women and their reproductive rights. Okay? That's setting off this entire Mercury and Scorpio transit is connecting with the power of Pluto. The in your bones, deep power of, I'm here on the planet and I deserve everything that you have, that we all deserve the same things, and we all, most of all, damn well deserve to be in our authority when it comes to making decisions, square, decisions, Libra, about our own reproductive rights, about our own health care rights, about how we spend our money, as long as it's legal, and basically how we take care of our lives, how we create order in our lives. Because most of all, Saturn can be about creating order. Okay, let's see. We still have the Sun to Jupiter. We still have that aspect of the architect going on. That is good. Yeah, because the Sun's at, so that'll be going on even tomorrow and into next week. Let's see. Venus in conjunct, we've talked about that. That's starting to go out of orb a little bit, but it's still there. And that's just a little semi-sextile. The beginning of that opportunity is still there. We talked about that already. So what else on Sunday? So the moon was, let's see, we already talked about that before. Oh, duh, right here, the moon has moved into Pisces now. That's pretty cool. Now, the moon will start vibing with Saturn, so we're talking serious things. The mood, because remember, mood, in Pisces, it's inclusive, it's imaginative, it's mystical maybe, it's intuitive and compassionate, definitely sensitive. People will be more sensitive Sunday. There's nothing wrong with feeling your feelings. Don't forget, Mars in Cancer is here to teach us that it's all about the motivation. Well, first of all, what motivates you is a really good question. That's a really, really good question. And then you can discern whether or not are you motivated by something that's not even real? You know, like, would it really bring you peace to have this thing that you've been working so hard at to the expense of whatever? You know, these are things to think about, because especially because Mars being in Cancer, it's an internal process. And then with the moon here in Pisces, when the moon gets to, it'll be over here in between, we'll have the moon trine Mars. But for now, it's trining Mercury, okay, in Scorpio. So Scorpio thinking deeply, Mercury thinking Scorpio deeply in ways of transforming, and then hitting with the moon, there's the mood that brings through all possibilities. Like, I hadn't thought about that before. You know, like when you start thinking, like if you're just trying to figure out, if you're trying to decide something, and you're thinking of going this way, and so if you follow the thought, Mercury, follow the train of thought, follow all the steps and go, okay, if I want that over there, or if I want to get over there, be over there, I have to da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Then you have to ask yourself, do you want to make all those steps? Would you actually do that work? Would you actually da-da-da-da-da? Because nothing's just handed to us. Some things are, but I think we've probably earned that in the past, right? It might be more of a hand back to you. Somebody's paying it forward, and then you pay it forward, whatever. Anyway, reciprocity, that's the word. You think one way, and you follow it through. Or if you're just logically trying to figure out like what somebody's done, have they been dirty and dark and corrupt? Just follow the path, follow the breadcrumbs, follow the money. and you can figure out what's over there or what's back there, whatever that is. Same thing with the other direction. Just always follow it through. Use your critical thinking skills and go as deep as you can to figure out the structures of power in the past, and there you have it. And that will be on full, opening up this realm of full possibility, or a full realm of all possibilities today. This is at about 1 p.m. So what else? Let's see. Let's go. Let's see. That's Mercury. We got the Mercury square Pluto. We're good there. Now we have the Sun opposing Chiron. This is at 3 p.m. This can be kind of challenging, but the confrontation of consciousness between relationship and self can lead to a big breakthrough. So be open for that around 3 p.m. or so. And you may be feeling it way before. These are exact aspects the timing of when it comes through. And that aspect of the architect is still there, helping to expand your curiosity and learning something new that really helps you go forward into the future. Okay, so let's see. Anything else? I think that's about it. Because that's 3 p.m. I'll go ahead and might as well. There's no reason not to while I'm here. I just kind of want to see how, that's 9 p.m. and the moon is close to Saturn, but not that close. It's still not that close. But it sure could make for some good dream time. But on the more serious note, now Saturn moved back a little bit there. Did it? I don't know. Maybe I'm just imagining it. How does it take to, there we go, right there. It takes Monday, 11 a.m. before the moon hits Saturn. So we'll talk about it next week for sure. But things could get much more serious because look at Ceres there. 13. These are exact sextiles here going on. So serious as to creativity, your spiritual growth, your spiritual path, creative projects. Maybe something will come out. Maybe some documentary or something will drop that will be nice to watch. But Saturn rules government, Moon rules women and the mood. And yeah, I'm thinking this will be good for Kamala, though, on her campaign. And especially look at this. Look at how Venus is opposing Uranus. So I'll just save this for next week. But it's looking good. Yeah. Okay. I'm done, finally. My goodness, 2 hours later. Okay, take good care, you guys. Bye.